Holy bejesus. Look at Bitcoin Cash. Still going. This ain't done, son. Actually, the volume isn't too bad. Hey, Vied, what's up, buddy? I forgot to mention this in the chat room. I'm going live. That's kind of weird. There you go. Can't join live. Please record. Yeah, they record all of these. Boom. What happened here? Is that a good or a bad thing? Ooh, I just jumped out of this trade on Bittrex and interested to see. Yeah, new Bitcoin is right, Dunk. I hear you. I wonder what is going on there. Trying to check out the oh, that's the bid and the ask. I don't care about the bid and the ask right now. Look at market history, which I'm probably not going to get an answer to my question, but I want to know what that big buy was. Total units. Sorry guys, doing some research as I'm live here, so just yeah, big Bitcoin Cash just went well, you're the man, Fong, talking about Bitcoin Cash. You know, all these things run at one time or another. I don't know if there's a fundamental change in the market happening here, but anyway, yeah, the chart's been looking ridiculous. Just broke out here again. Good buy volume. Man, this is really nice. Bought more at 310. Good job. You know, G Square, we do record all the sessions. They do all get recorded. So we're just going to ask here. We're going to buy it again. Hopefully that fills. That's my third buy on Bitcoin Cash here. Interesting. Very interesting move. It's going to get up towards 1,000. Be very strange what happens when we get towards 1,000. So Bitcoin Cash is the big mover. I think everyone is in on this trade. I almost feel like it's a crowded trade. Huge volume happening here. There's a lot of accumulation. If anyone has any news as to specifically why, I know Korea is doing a lot, but are they moving from Bitcoin into Bitcoin Cash? Is this the anti-Bitcoin? I've got no idea. You know, we've got two networks that are essentially very similar, with potentially the same number of not really computing power, but people on them, and maybe there's a switch being had here. But yeah, the Bitcoin correction definitely has begun. I debated whether I should record a video or if I should go live. I may actually put this on a recording and put a skin on it and treat it like it was a video. It's not going to be very long. I do have an appointment, but I did want to jump on here. I do want to say one thing for those of you that are still in Bitcoin. Is there anyone that's still in Bitcoin? I don't know of anyone that is specifically. So we're on the daily chart here. Let me just make more room for this chart. So Bitcoin, the past two corrections, I do want to point this out for everyone. The past two corrections in Bitcoin have come down about 33%, 35%. That one looks like it said 38%. Okay. And that one 40%. If we do that from this level, if my rudimentary math, it puts us right back at 5,000-ish, maybe even comes all the way down to this high at, yeah, pretty much 5,000, 37% from the high there to 49.58. So we could get a possible multi-week correction in Bitcoin again, coming back down. Although one little difference, we do have this kind of intermediary area to contend with. So we're probably definitely going to get some support around this area between 6,000 and 5,000. But spiking down to 5 is a possibility, like we did here, spiking down to 3. So, oh, you can't see anything? Well, oh, of course you can't. You're looking at that screen. All right, sorry guys, some things change when I unplug my screens, and there's that window capture. This is how you set up OBS, in case you're wondering. Man, I failed today, guys. I'm sorry, I missed a couple of things. Man, I apologize, guys. It wasn't supposed to Okay. I'm assuming that's better. Guys, that's 2 streams in a row. I need to test my system before I do this. You guys know I really fly by the seat of my pants over here, so sorry about that. I apologize. 985 on Bitcoin Cash. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So the prior 2 corrections in Bitcoin here both have been about, let's see if I can make this a little bigger. Oops, I just moved a trend line. So this Bitcoin 3000 correction, and I'm on Bitfinex. It may be different on your exchange. Each one's a little different. This one came down to about 38% between the 3000 and what was that spike low, 1800. This spike right here from Bitcoin 5000 to 3000, again about 40%, 38%. Should you sell out of altcoins? I've taken all cash position. Each portfolio is a little bit different. I don't like to be in during big down draws like this. Bitcoin selling off, alts are selling off with Bitcoin. So that means if Bitcoin is leading, we are going to proceed much further down, in my opinion. So I would definitely be leveling out of alts. If you're hodling, you're going to be in for a tough few weeks, possibly. If you're new to the channel, go back and check my earlier videos. We talked about the top over here. We thought this was a minor correction. We had a nice pullback and a bounce, and then on the fail of this bounce, we went extraordinarily bearish, and we bounced back down to 3,000. But that 3,000 correction was again about a 35 to 40% correction. If we do take that same drawdown, we're going to go back to Bitcoin 5,000. I'm going to go back to Bitcoin 5,000. If that happens, that's fine. Okay, if that Bitcoin 5,000 happens, that's a perfectly acceptable, perfectly logical pullback. Whether you want to be a part of that and hodl through that, that's your decision. But if we get past 5,000, we're going to possibly test this trend line down here, drawing the lows between that 1,800 and 3,000. There's a trend line here. I do have a couple of more shorter term trend lines. Let me go back to auto. Do have some more shorter term trend lines here. One it's about to hit, and very quickly. That's usually not a good thing, but these do have some crazy bounces, so if you want to trade this for a bounce, be my guest. Past that, you have this trend line. Both of these trend lines are fairly similar, but at the same time, they're a little bit different. This kills this intermediate move, which it may do very quickly. This kills a less intermediate move, but both of these are highly correlated. They both have to do with this upward movement. Past that, you're going to have support here at 5,000. Past that, you're going to have support at this trend line. Past that, we're screwed. And we're going to go into a much longer bear market. I'm not calling for that. That's what you look for with technical analysis. You look for intermediate levels of support, intermediate levels of resistance, and then you go from there. Pulling some moving averages, which I only have one up here, the 10 EMA. If I were to change this to, say, the 50 EMA, that puts us down here kind of at the bottom of these trend lines if you want to go off with some moving averages. And if you look at what the 50 EMA has done in the past, I know the 100 EMA is a favorite for longer term. So let's just, we have a long way to go if we hit that 100. And if you notice, this 100 EMA was broken through twice, actually, by Bitcoin. So this potentially tells us as this goes up, Bitcoin 5,000 definitely could be in the cards. And that would be a healthy pullback and a great place to buy Bitcoin. That'd be a good place to buy Bitcoin. But again, if that level fails, we'll see what happens at that point. But right now we're in the first stage, the first leg of a potential large downward movement. Now, one thing we didn't have between this base and this base to contend with is this larger base. Okay, this larger base here breaking out of the 6,000 area. We had to contend with this, and so we're going to get some support around here. Maybe that's where this move stops. It's hard to say exactly, but that's kind of where Bitcoin is headed. All right, let's check out the chat a little bit. Like I said, it's going to be kind of a short live stream today. I do have an appointment later today. 50 people and only 4 likes, everyone. Yeah, everyone, please go ahead and hit that like button if you subscribe to the channel. It helps these videos get ranked. Most of you guys don't donate, so you can at least hit a like button. At least hit a like button. Okay, the cashioning is happening. Let's see about the cashioning. Oh, 938. We've come back down. We've come back down. My buy may not have been so good after all. Where can you buy Bitcoin Cash? All over the place, I think. Hold or hodl, it's kind of the same thing for me. If you're going to hold, you're going to be in a rough position. If you're a hodler holding, then maybe maybe you have a different point of view. What's special on Bitcoin Cash? I have no idea. Alright, am I selling my Bitcoin at this moment, or is it too late? I've been cashed out of Bitcoin for quite some time. Yeah, I've been cashed out of Bitcoin for quite some time. So actually, if you want to know where I sold, where did I sell? I know a lot of people like to know what guys like me are doing. So let's take a look at what I did. I'm going to be as honest with you as I can. I sold here. I sold right here. This was the breakout. There was a trend line right here that it failed. I was a little late to that party. I kind of missed it, but I sold here on the break of that trend line. And then I did trade a couple of bounces here. I traded a couple of bounces, and then I made some ground here, lost some ground here, made some ground here, ended up net down like 1%, and then I just completely cashed out up here, I think. Right about there, about 75 and change, maybe 74. I don't remember specifically, but it was on this down spike, and I didn't catch the whole downward move of it, and I've been out of Bitcoin ever since. So that was my trade on Bitcoin, essentially. Ooh, 919. Yeah, I hit that 1,000. Yeah, I need to jump out of my trade. Darn it. Why did I get back in? Getting greedy, guys. That's called greed. And you get, sometimes when you get greedy, you get hurt. So I got hurt a little bit. All right, so let me see here. All right, sorry about that, guys. Colleague walked in the room here. All right, got out of Bitcoin Cash, lost 30 bucks. What are you gonna do? Okay. Back to the chart here. Sold my Bitcoin at 78.95 and around 74 and buying back now. Interesting. Oh, thanks, Paul. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that, buddy. Nothing will rise forever. I've been with Bitcoin Cash so long. The last great pump was between 100 to 150 only. Bitcoin Cash is upgrading their EDA emergency difficulty adjuster on November 13th. Will lead to reduced volatility in Bitcoin Cash, likely making it more attractive. Yeah, I did see something about that, actually. I did see something about that. Oh, I was chatting. I missed that run to 1,000. Oh, well. Back to Bitcoin. Ethereum also. So, just so you guys know, I mean, nothing crazy. I sold out of Bitcoin, and I went long Ethereum at a pretty good level. I got long Ethereum over here at the 306 level, and it ran up pretty good. Then overnight it crashed, and I was asleep, and I actually got out flat on Ethereum. So kind of sucked there. I was really happy. I was hoping it was going to hold. I was going to swing trade this, but I'm not going to let a gain turn into a loss, so I ended up out flat on Ethereum. That's kind of how you have to trade these markets, guys. If you're holding into losses, that's very difficult. It's going to be almost impossible to be successful long-term holding on to losses. And Bitcoin Cash now down to 900. Back to 900. Bitcoin Cash is 148% more profitable to mine than Bitcoin now, according to What to Mine. Really? Very interesting. Good information on that one. Yeah, it'll spike up to 1,000, but if it caves 30%, which it probably could, I mean, there's 1,000, 70% all the way, or 700s all the way back down here. We could come down. We'll see about that. But the main point I wanted to get with the stream, guys, I'm going to leave here. I got about 10 minutes. If you guys have some questions, 10 minutes would be a good time frame. And thank you, Paul, for the super chat donation. I appreciate that. If you guys don't know how to do that, there's a super chat feature, excuse me, where you can make a donation, and I appreciate those. But yeah, my main point was to talk about Bitcoin because it's kind of in a fall right now. People tend to panic when they're in falls. I'm just going to get rid of all my drawings here. Get rid of all my drawings. There we go. Remove all drawing tools. Ah, that's better. You know, sometimes as a chartist, I get really happy with the drawings. I get really happy with the drawings. Another point to mention on Bitcoin, and you know, I'm not a fearmonger. There was someone said this is FUD. It was on my Bitcoin 1200 video, if you guys have seen that. That wasn't meant to be FUD. It was meant to be informational, not even educational, but kind of informational, and how to look at charts longer term. So looking at the longer term Bitcoin chart, let's take a look at, this prior run in Bitcoin where it popped up to 1200. That was kind of its all-time high for several years. We've had a very similar parabolic run. That's what I was pointing out at this level in time, at this point in time, when it went up towards 5,000 and then came down. Well, now we went up towards 8,000 and came down. So there's highly, you know, at some point the rally will be over. I do believe there's institutions in the market that does kind of change the game a little bit. So we'll see if that comes to pass or not. But the real test is going to be when we get, and if we get back towards 5,000. If we get to 5,000 and we bounce up, and then we fail somewhere, like take 3,000 for instance. 3,000, 5,000. I'm sorry. Take 5,000. 5,000 bounced down to 3,000, came back up, and blew through 5,000 with gusto. I mean, look at the volume. It just blew through 5,000. When it went over 5,000, I knew that this market was bull on. With that volume, that kind of determination, and then it blew upwards. So the same thing's going to happen with 8,000. Okay. We bumped up against 8,000, we crashed down. If we get to 5,000, we're probably going to get a very nice bounce. If we get up here towards 6,000, 7,000 and fail, that's a different animal. Then you have to be a little more resistant to, you know, Bitcoin bullish forever, because if it doesn't just continue upward, then this trend is done. There's a high probability that this trend is done. So you look at here between 3,000 and 1,800, right? It broke out here, little pause, went up again. Very good. Peaked out at 5,000, came down to 3,000, blew through 5,000, blew through the prior high. So if we bounce off 5,000, come up and fail at a lower high, that's going to be bearish for Bitcoin. That's going to be bearish for Bitcoin. Doesn't mean you can't trade. Doesn't mean you can't have profits. But it's going to mean that, you know, there's a bit of a change in behavior, and it may not fall all the way down, but we could do what Ethereum's been doing, and we can go sideways for quite some time, right? That's my kid drawing trend lines. That's my 6-year-old drawing trend lines on my chart. That's so cute. So Ethereum goes sideways for quite some time. Bitcoin could do something similar to that. Anyway, just want to give you guys a longer term perspective. Also wanted to give you a bit of insight into how I would view these things longer term. You want to look at these prior support levels and see how they, you want to see how they hold up. Also with about, looks like 40% pullbacks, you could see this pullback to 5,000. So, all right, guys, there you go. There's my live stream. I'm going to cut it right there. Fortunately, I'm not going to go through a lot of alts. I'll do that at another time. I do have an appointment at 1 o'clock, and I want to get lunch in before then, so I'm going to get out of here. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Paul, for the donation. I appreciate it. Yeah, so there you go. Looks like Bitcoin catching a bit of a bid here. Ethereum, Bitcoin Classic back down to 909. You know, trade the trades you have, guys. Take the profits quickly. Okay, guys, I'll see you next time on the live stream or the video. Have a good day.